The story of an ice cube. Hello there. This is me, an ice cube. I am in my cozy little freezer. It's nice and cold, and I have somebody to show you who is going to teach us something about 3 phases of matter and molecules. So, let me introduce you to Dr. Molecule. So, Dr. Molecule, what are the 3 phases of matter? Dear Ice Cube, the 3 phases of matter are solid, liquid, and gas. And you are a solid. Oh, I didn't know that. So how do my molecules look like? I mean, like inside me. Oh, here I have a picture. These are the molecules inside you. They are very, very closely packed together, and as you can see, they don't have that much space to move around, so they can just vibrate in their own place. And so you are a solid thing that has its own an exact volume that does not change and an exact shape. For say, if we would put you on a plate, you would still look the same. For let's say if we put you into a glass. You see? Oh yes. So I don't change much. No, you do not. But you would change if we would put you outside in the sun. Oh, and how would I change? You are now going to become water. Since we have added more heat to your molecules over here, when we do that, they start to vibrate even more and they become a liquid. And now one little molecule has more space to move around than when you were a solid. Oh, that's really cool, isn't it? Yes, it is. So now, instead of being an ice cube, you have changed to water. This process is called melting. Oh, so now I'm not an ice cube anymore. I'm not a solid. Now I'm a liquid. And my molecules are like moving around a lot, right? Yes. But that's not the only thing. You are not always going to look like this, like an oval. You are going to change your shape, but your volume is still going to stay the same. Why is my volume going to stay the same? Because when we put you into a glass, you're obviously going to look like this container over here. And if we put you into a plastic squared box, you would take the shape of that plastic squared box. But you would still take up the same amount of space. You will just look differently depending on where you are being poured. So, my volume is 50 milliliters, and if you put me onto a plate, I would still have 50 milliliters as my volume, but I would look like I would cover up the plate, right? Yes, that's exactly right. Oh, so now I can move around more, right? Yes, you will. You're not just a frozen piece. Okay, but what would happen if we added even more heat? So now we will put you into this pot as a liquid, water, and we will heat up the temperature to make you form steam. This white stuff that is called steam. And that process is called evaporation. When the water changes into a gas and you are steam, which is a kind of gas. Okay, but what about my molecules? Your molecules are now completely free. As you can see, there's not many molecules, but they are super free. There are no boundaries. They do not have a fixed volume, nor do they have a fixed shape. So they can take the shape of anything that they go to. Like they can take the shape of the room, the shape of, I don't know, box, anything. And their volume is not fixed either. So you never know how much volume it actually has. Oh, that's very interesting. But what if we add even more heat? Oh, steam, you are going to change to plasma if we add even more heat. But we would have to add a lot of heat, not just keep you in the sun, because then you'll escape. But plasma, we are not going to study yet. Steam, you just have to wait a bit more. Okay. But what about if I want to go back to being water? Oh, so you want to go from steam back to water? Interesting. What would we have to do? Well, of course we wouldn't add heat because that would make you plasma. We don't want to have any more of that. We will add cold. So now we will make you cold. So to do the process in the opposite direction, from steam to liquid, or from gas to liquid, then from liquid back to solid, we would have to start here with the steam. So let's say somebody took a really, really warm shower and all the hot water formed steam, and the steam would go onto the window or the mirror, and the mirror was nice and cold, let's say way cooler than the warm steam. And when the warm steam would hit the cold window, it would start to cool down, and that process is called condensation, which is happening right here on this window. And that is how it would get from steam or gas back to a liquid. And then, if we want to go back, a step again, we would have to take the water and put it in the freezer to make it an ice cube again. So that is freezing. So first, again, from steam, right here, it will condense and go down to liquid or water. Then it will go to the freezer. It will freeze and form ice cubes. You got that? I think so. So from steam to water to ice. Exactly. Great. Okay, let's do a brief checkup if you were following right and sort of refresh your memory about how all the processes are called and what they are again. So let's start off with the ice cube. To get you, here are your closely packed molecules. Not much movement is going on, very tightly packed, only vibration. And then we go to water, which we would have to add heat. And that process is called melting. Yes, melting. And so you would melt the ice cube, put it outside in the sun to get it to form a liquid. And look at the molecules here. Much more movement and a little more space than what we found here. And then we would boil you to form a gas or steam in your case. And the molecules are free and are able to go anywhere they would like to. You with me so far? Yes. And now, do you know what we will have to do? We would probably have to cool everything down to get it back to a solid. That is right. So from gas to form a liquid, we will cool you down. That process is called condensation. Then we will cool the liquid down, put it in the freezer, and that is called freezing, and we would make you back into a solid. Pretty simple. Hey Ice Cube, did you get all that? Yes, that was super fun. What a great adventure. Now I know everything about me and I can share all this awesome information with my other Ice Cube friends. Like Freezy and Ice Pops and Icicle. They'll be really happy and interested in hearing what their life cycle is, or what the 3 phases of matter is. Great to see you so interested in this. Do you have any more questions? Well, I have one. Is there any way of me turning straight into a gas? I mean, without changing any, like, and changing to water, just like straight into steam. Is that possible? Well, to do that, you would have to be frozen carbon dioxide or dry ice. Whoa, and how would it work? Well, you would first need to be really, really cold, and the process will be a little different, and it will be called something a little different. So I'll show you how it will work. So this is frozen carbon dioxide. It's a kind of gas that you freeze at a very, very, very low temperature to make it a solid. And as you can see here, this is as a solid, but if you were to put it into water, it would start steaming. It would immediately start changing back to carbon dioxide, its original state, the gas. So that is the only way to make ice, a solid, into a gas without melting it. Wow, I want to be frozen carbon dioxide. Instead, I'm just boring old water. Oh, don't worry. Water is one of the things, one of the only things that exist in all three phases. Well, at least that's one thing. Yes. And now I have to go and study more of these really, really cool things like phases and molecules, so I can come back and talk to you more about it. Thank you! Well, that was an interesting lesson. See ya!